Cobra Kai is a direct sequel to the original 4 films in the Karate Kid franchise. 30 years after the original film's release, the series focuses on protagonist Daniel LaRusso and antagonist Johnny Lawrence. So stay tuned and don't go away, because Cobra Kai's new dojo sets up an old fan theory coming true. Plus, Cobra Kai's best ending theory is too good not to happen. First up, how is Cobra Kai setting the stage for an old fan theory to come true? You're about to find out. Cobra Kai is laying the groundwork for an old fan theory to come true by giving a great deal of focus to the name of Johnny and Daniel's new dojo. Season 5 is setting up Johnny, Daniel, and Chozen to lead a new dojo. And there's an old fan theory predicting what the new dojo might be called. If you recall, Season 3 hinted that Johnny and Daniel would put aside their differences and team up. However, when Season 4 rolled around, things started to crumble. In Season 5, though, we see Johnny and Daniel join forces with the goal of founding one unified dojo. With Cobra Kai taking over the valley, Daniel's best hope to fight his former rival was to join forces with Chozen. But joining forces with Chozen came with its own set of consequences. Chozen brought a different side of Miyagi-Do to Daniel's dojo, and it became clear that Daniel needed one more ally to defeat Johnny. Despite their ongoing beef over the years, Johnny and Daniel always respected each other's karate styles. Now their goal is to combine Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang into one unique training program, essentially giving their students the best of both worlds. Next up, when was the new dojo created by Johnny, Chozen, and Daniel made official? Let's take a look. The new unified dojo created by Daniel, Chozen, and Johnny was made official after the trio tried for a spot on the Sekai Taikai. The Sekai Taikai is an international karate tournament held on the most significant karate stage. Renowned dojos from across the globe compete to win the global karate title. The Sekai Taikai committee was quite impressed by the skills and fighting style of Eli and Sam, and rival Cobra Kai will fight in the worldwide competition to determine once and for all which dojo produces the greatest fighters. But now that Johnny, Chozen, and Daniel are in the Sekai Taikai tournament, they'll need to find an official name for their prized dojo. Season 5 of Cobra Kai hinted that it will be a new, unique name because Daniel refuses to use Miyagi-Do, and we all know that Johnny refuses to call it Eagle Fang. That old fan theory we talked about a minute ago seems to shed some light on the mystery of the new dojo's name. And some Karate Kid fans think the dojo's new name will be called the Karate Kids, or something to that effect. Assuming the fan theory is correct, what do you think of the name for Daniel and Johnny's new dojo? Thumbs up or down? Drop a comment below. We'd love to know your thoughts. Up next, will Johnny and Daniel's new dojo set up Cobra Kai's perfect ending? Let's dig a little deeper. In Season 5, we finally see Johnny and Daniel putting their differences aside, and a sort of bromance blossoms between the two, and they realize that they've been friends all this time, sometimes even in real life. Bullies and those they victimized do patch things up. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's certainly nice to see. Cobra Kai is closer than ever to its perfect ending. The never-ending conflict between Johnny and Daniel had to be resolved, and now that it is, there isn't much else material for Cobra Kai to cover. If there is a Season 6 of Cobra Kai and it happens to be the final one, then Cobra Kai has already laid the foundation for a perfect ending setup. For some fans, naming Daniel and Johnny's dojo the Karate Kids would make the entire Karate Kid Cobra Kai saga come full circle. Naming the new dojo the Karate Kids would also serve to honor Cobra Kai's most important characters, the students. While friends and enemies from Johnny and Daniel's past may have set the tone for Cobra Kai, everything both men have done so far was to try and help their students. Hence, there's no better or more appropriate name for Cobra Kai's new dojo other than the Karate Kids. Stay tuned and don't go away, because we're about to reveal everything we know about Cobra Kai. Next up, why was film star Elizabeth Shue's character, Allie Mills, written out of the film franchise? You're about to find out. Long before the premiere of Cobra Kai, Elizabeth Shue's character, Allie Mills, was last seen in the original film. She seemed set to return as Ralph Macchio's girlfriend in the sequel film, but her character's fate was written out of the franchise in one single line after Daniel LaRusso said they'd broken up. And just like that, Allie was no more. In a recent interview, Macchio expressed his sincere regret at how Shue's character was handled. Macchio explained, "I never looked at it from the perspective of Allie's character, or from the perspective of Elizabeth as an actor. As an older person, there was a recognition of missteps, of things I should have done differently. Today, one of Macchio's regrets is that he didn't stand up for Shue and ask producers to reconsider writing her characters off." Macchio added, "I don't know. They probably would have said to me, 'Get outside, Macchio, and start practicing your karate kicks.' Today, I think there would be a different conversation." And to be fair to Macchio, he's entirely correct. Hollywood was a completely different industry at the time, and had Macchio attempted to speak up for Shue, he likely would have been laughed out of the producer's office, or yelled at and told to leave. That's the nature of the Hollywood beast and machine. Unless you're one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, you don't get to make demands. Producers and executives ultimately call the shots. It's how it's always been, and how it always will be. And if they decided that Elizabeth Shue's Allie Mills was gone, then there were no ifs, ands, or buts buts about it. Up next, were fans hoping to see Elizabeth Shue's Allie Mills in Cobra Kai? Absolutely. Cobra Kai's creators cared a great deal about having Shue back, and she did return as Allie in Season 3. Shue worked closely with series creators Josh Heald, John Hurwitz, and Hayden Schlossberg to help tweak the story behind their character's disappearance. The spin-off series added a more layered explanation based on Daniel's failure as a teen boy to communicate, rather than the one the Karate Kid Part 2 gave of her leaving Daniel for a UCLA football player, which clearly shows Allie in a negative light. Machio said, "Women in movies were often thought to be disposable. I see that now. Then I didn't see it. It was a case of youth being wasted on the young. I was swept up in everything that was happening in my life." Shue has publicly spoken about being written out of the Karate Kid film franchise and the return of Allie in Cobra Kai, saying, "In Karate Kid 2, my character was kind of pushed aside in a way that didn't feel so great." So it's funny how the idea of Allie coming back started. At first, I thought, well, her character really left the world of the Karate Kid in a way that wasn't so great. Would people care about her coming back? As I said, the original reason for Allie's departure from the franchise does cast her character in a negative light. And not only that, but from a literary perspective, it just seemed like lazy writing. Hayden Schlossberg said, "We didn't like that reason. Elizabeth didn't like that reason, so we tried to think of a way that didn't make Daniel out to be a liar, but also gave Allie her own side of the story." Finally, why did Ralph Macchio turn down Will Smith's Karate Kid? Will Smith asked Ralph Macchio to join his remake of The Karate Kid. However, Macchio turned down the offer. In his new memoir titled Waxing On: The Karate Kid and Me, Macchio discusses the time he was asked to be in Will Smith's 2010 remake of The Karate Kid, starring Smith's son Jaden Smith. In the book, Macchio reveals that Smith offered to involve him in any way he wanted and said the door was open. In his memoir, Macchio discusses his response to Smith, writing, "I just said, you know what, I'm gonna stand back, be a fan, and see what you guys can come up with. I think the legacy stands on its own, and I didn't have any great desire to fit a square peg into a round hole, if you will, and what they wanted to do for me to really participate. They reimagined it and made a film that turned out to be quite successful and fairly well crafted. It did well, but only in my view. It enhanced the legacy of the original." What do you think? Would you have liked to see Ralph Macchio in the Will Smith 2010 Karate Kid remake? That's a wrap for today's video. Thank you for watching.